Hey guys, so we're back with yet another video for Apex, and today we're gonna take a look at Lifeline. How do you actually play with this legend? As usual, with all of the previous tutorials I've already done for Bloodhound and Rave, so those are already up, you can check them out if you wish. We're gonna take a look at 5 different sections. Abilities, weapons, perfect environment, your role in the team, and I forgot where are the notes. Right. Synergies with other legends, that's the last part. So yeah, let's jump into it. Before we start talking about abilities though, I just want to say one thing really quickly. If there is anyone who's new to Apex, like completely new, not saying new because we're all new, the game is like 6 days old, but in general, if you just started playing the game or you're thinking about starting playing Apex and you're watching tutorials in advance, go for Lifeline. It is the easiest character to start playing with and you're getting tons of benefits which we're gonna talk about in a video. But in general, it is really easy to use it. And now, onto the abilities. As with all of the legends in Apex, it's got 3 different abilities. The passive one, allowing her to heal 25% faster using all of the consumable items, as well as having a shield while reviving a downed teammate. I want to clarify one thing about the shield, however, because I often see players who don't really know what to do with it. First of all, it does deploy automatically, so you don't have to do anything, and second, it covers 180 degrees of the direction that you are facing when you start reviving the teammate. So, in simple words, if you want to protect yourself and your teammate while reviving with the shield, you have to look at the enemies in their direction before you start the revive animation, because then you will have this part of you covered. I understand, many players already know this, but keep in mind, we still have new players watching those tutorials and I'll admit, I often see players who are covering the wrong side of them with this shield, so yeah. Anyway, the tactical ability. You can deploy a health drone which regenerates HP of you, your teammates, and even the enemies if they manage to get to it. Keep in mind, however, it isn't designed to be used during the engagement. If you are fighting enemies, don't bother deploying a drone. Use syringes and use medkits. Unless the enemies are really far away from you and you actually have time for it, but it's not going to happen often. But, as a general rule, you deploy it after the engagement, heal yourself and heal your teammates. And here is why. It's actually very good because first of all, you can loot while being healed by the drone, and second, you can be recharging your shields simultaneously when you are actually getting healed by the drone, so it doesn't stop you from anything. You can do pretty much anything in the game and you're still getting healed if you're standing close enough to it. It will stay on the map for 20 seconds after you deploy it, which is plenty of time for you to get fully healed, and it takes 59 seconds for the tactical ability to recharge and allow you to put another drone down. As for the ultimate ability though, you can actually call in supply drops, but those supply drops do not contain legendary items, so you're not gonna get golden items from those, but you can still get decent gear, so it's worth calling. The reload time of the ultimate ability for Lifeline is exactly 5 minutes and 56 seconds, but for the sake of making it easier for you guys to actually remember it, let's say it is 6 minutes. One thing I would advise to do when playing Lifeline is collecting ultimate accelerants by you and your teammates that then later can give them to you, because here's why. One accelerant takes 7 seconds to consume, and it recharges 20% of your ultimate ability. So, if you do the math, you can recharge your ultimate ability in 35 seconds. How does 35 seconds sound compared to 6 minutes? It's quite a huge difference, right? Anyway, onto the weapons. What should you pick when you're playing Lifeline? First of all, let's establish one thing. If you're playing as Lifeline, you're supposed to be a supporting character, which means you have to survive the longest. If your teammates die, it's your job to actually get them up and running back into the action. And since you preferably want to stay on medium distances, I recommend you go for, first of all, the VK-47 Flatline Assault Rifle, which is the most effective assault rifle for this distance, LMGs, both Devotion LMG and Spitfire, as well as sniper rifles, semi-automatic ones, triple take and the G7 Scout, as well as Crabber. which is quite difficult to obtain from supply drops, but hey, it fits Lifeline. And of course at the very end, we still have the Wingman pistol, which is just perfect for pretty much anything. You just have to hit headshots. And yeah, those would be the weapons I recommend you play with if you choose to go as Lifeline. Of course, keep in mind you can do well with any of the gun in the game, and it's more about explaining the general approach to your playstyle with the character, rather than restricting yourself to certain weapons. Of course, if you like shotguns, go for shotguns. Environment. Where does Lifeline exist? And I'll be honest, it's universal. You can use Lifeline pretty much anywhere, and as I mentioned, which kind of overlaps with part number 4, which I should probably get into right now, which is your role in the team. Because here is the thing, if you're playing as Lifeline, you will have to be the supporting role, meaning it will be on you to revive someone who gets knocked out, or to support them during the engagement. And while you have the speed and capabilities of running into the enemies and fighting them up close, I wouldn't advise you to do so, because you're the strongest person who can actually revive teammates most effectively. So if you die first, you are putting your team at the disadvantage. You should be the guy who's staying a little bit behind, no matter what scenario, because here's the thing, you can effectively pick them up even in the middle of an open field. You're capable of doing it because you have a shield while reviving your teammates. So you're universal. You can play in whatever environment you want to, and you will still do your job as Lifeline. But the thing is, attacking your opponents isn't really that beneficial because you don't have the abilities to do so. Of course you have the same guns as everyone else in the game, but other than that, your abilities don't really give you any advantage in the gunfight. And because of that, you have to balance it out. You cannot let enemies use their abilities on you in a direct engagement, because you will lose if they are on the similar skill level. You don't have advantage over them, they have an advantage over you. It's an uneven fight. Don't go for it. And of course, score some kills from the distance, but don't run straight into the action. It's not what Lifeline is designed for. As for my favorite part, which is the last segment of the video talking about synergies, I'll admit, here, Lifeline is, once again, super versatile and you can combine it with pretty much any legend. What is important for you to remember though is that when you're playing with friends and you actually have some influence over their legends, you got to tell them, listen, I'm playing Lifeline, it's not on me to engage enemies, so their picks have to be something that will allow them to actually fight off enemies effectively without involving you directly into it. So what I personally recommend you do is combine Lifeline with offensive characters, which will allow you to actually keep the distance between you and the enemies, because your teammates will have to be up on the front. So combine it with Wraith, Bloodhound, Bangalore, Mirage, characters which can effectively attack enemies. Gibraltar, or Gibraltar, I don't quite know how to pronounce it, but it's also good for a bit more defensive playstyle. But I would only recommend to do so if you're actually communicating with the guy playing Gibraltar, because here is the thing, if they are playing Gibraltar, they already have a defensive character, which means in a perfect scenario, enemies should come to you, which means you are involved into what we just talked about. You do not want to have a direct gunfight as Lifeline, you want to have a bit of a distance between you and the enemies. So unless you are 100% certain that you can actually rely on the other guy playing Gibraltar, or Gibraltar, again don't know how to pronounce it, but I wouldn't go for it. If I'm not 100% certain I can actually trust them, don't. Also, as a side note, the combination with Bangalore works really well if you want to revive teammates, because on top of having a shield you can actually smoke the whole area with Bangalore's grenade launcher, but it pretty much applies to all of the legends who have Bangalore in the team, and I don't know why people don't smoke when they revive. That will be it for the video, guys. If you want to check out my other advanced tutorials explaining legends in Apex, I already made a video for Bloodhound and Wraith, so those two are on the screen right now. One of them and the other one will appear if you click on the icon, so yeah. Enjoy! And as always, if you enjoyed, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and I see you in Apex. See ya!